My father has been in the hotel business for over 40 years. Building a purpose-built hotel in the heart of the West End was always a dream of his. So when this opportunity arose to have this development on the heart of Leicester Square over 10 years ago, it was not a project that he was going to hold back on.
We were working with one of the most iconic sites in London, and something that draws people from around the globe is Leicester Square. So we wanted to create a new place for people to go in an old location, somewhere that everyone was familiar with and would feel like the building contributed to it. The client's brief was clear: to create an iconic building that was a legacy building that had the quality that Leicester Square in London deserved, to be something that the company, that the owner could give back to London, which had been very good to him in his business.
He wanted to be able to reinvest into the economy, to have a building that would outlast all of us, and to do something really right for the cityscape.
Rather than starting with the building, we needed to start with the story of the building. And that story began with Leicester Square and all that happens around it. And we called that journey the West End Story.
I recall us thinking about how we could turn that into an experience for new guests 10 years on.
I mean, one of the critical pieces was to connect, as you say, into the film and theatre industry, and this was massively important for Westminster City Council. Just looking across at the Odeon, remembering back at how important that was to planners and for the cityscape, and how our building was going to be a new reference to that historic urban marker.
The idea was to create an internal space linked to the external space of Leicester Square and make that wall as permeable as possible for the public to come in and mix with our guests, and for our guests to be able to go out of the hotel into the West End. And that link was really, really very important.
They come out one side of the building and they're experiencing Leicester Square. On the other side of the building, they're plugged right into Trafalgar Square, and they really feel they're in the center of the West End, Covent Garden. And what was once kind of a underused, under-trafficked part of Leicester Square suddenly has got more life to it.
And we've totally transformed this neglected corner. It's right in this unusual position diagonally into Leicester Square and into the National Gallery and Portrait Gallery. It is a very important rebuilding of the city, and the timing of its release has been incredible. It's great to see 10 years later that everybody's taking it on board, from the interior designers to the Westminster Council, to the fabric of the building, to every component of it is consistent, which is often missing in hotels. So I think we're sitting right in the middle of a timeless moment where we actually have successfully recreated the excitement of being in a hotel, the excitement of being in a city again.
There were plenty of people who said, really, a 5-star lifestyle hotel in Leicester Square? Well, in the 10 years since we started, you can see where we've come with this building, but how everything else has responded to it.
This project pushes boundaries in all of its elements, from architecture, engineering, interior design, art curation, as well as its sustainability by being a BREEAM Excellent hotel. The team that worked on this project within Edwardian, as well as the consultants, we were all encouraged to push boundaries in order to create a really unique experience for Londoners as well as a modern traveller, to create an urban resort in the heart of the West End. We call it a super boutique hotel. In that sense, we wanted to create a hotel that was intimate in its feeling, but super in its scale.
We wanted to create a linkage between the internal spaces of the hotel and link and drive them through to the square, and likewise pull people in from the square. The facade is composed of Portland stone, and we brought in an existing element that's seen throughout buildings in the West End, which is architectural faience, a glazed terracotta. And rather than add public art onto the building, the terracotta itself became the expression of public art. The tiles themselves were designed by an artist called Ian Munro, all individually handmade in the north of England. He called water tiles, and the idea was to create individual facets on each tile, and throughout the day would capture the movement of the sky, and at night the ambient light and movement of the streets below. And that dynamic day to night changeover animates the exterior of the building and creates a really interesting look. The building is half above ground and half below ground. In fact, it's 53% below ground space. So we knew we had to make these spaces work really, really well and not feel like they were subterranean.
The light bulb moment is when we had to dig a hole at 8 stories below ground and 8 stories above ground, and we turned the whole idea of a hotel upside down.
The central space of the building is a very important organizational design element, and that we called the vertical club. The idea of linking vertically functions of hotels which are normally on horizontal floors, we had to do vertically through our building. And that opened up some very interesting design opportunities, creating views, internal views, external views, views of the sky, views from the ground level down into those lower levels. And it creates an effect of entering at ground level into the middle of the building rather than into the bottom of the building.
We came up with the idea of doing a roof terrace, of going back to some of the original ideas which had kind of fallen away.
It's delightful and surprising that some of those initial core ideas rediscover themselves in different ways, that at the pinnacle of this hotel, and we're in the penthouse right now, with these sumptuous views, that we needed to give it to more people, seeing that you're in the midst of this incredible city in incredibly intimate environments is fulfilling.
Everyone felt the importance of this site and the responsibility we had as a collective group of designers, engineers, etc.
Even COVID couldn't have interrupted the momentum of what we've done. This is very optimistic and very uplifting about, traveling again, the romance of traveling, being in London. London is one of the great cities of the world and definitely is imbuing positivity right now. So come in and, if everybody come and enjoy the building and relive the lives that we used to have, because it's here and it's alive.